Good afternoon, everyone. Namaskara. My name is Sandhya Srinivasan and I'm a family friend. And we are here to begin a celebration of life for Maneesh. We'll start with a prayer recitation by a group of women. If any of you wish to join them and know the prayers, please start singing with them. This will go on for about 35 to 40 minutes, so we ask that you all remain silent as the prayers are read. We're starting with Vishnu Sahasranam.
शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषम् पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः अविकाराय शुद्धाय नित्याय परमात्मने सदैकरूपरूपाय विष्णवे सर्वजिष्णवे यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण जन्म संसारबन्धनात् विमुच्यते नमस्तस्मै विष्णव्ययपिता यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि भवन्त्यादियुगागमे यस्मिन् च प्रलयं यान्ति पुनरेव युगक्षये तस्य लोकप्रधानस्य जगन्नाथस्य भूपते विष्णोर्नाम सहस्रं मे शृणु पापभयापहम् यानि नामानि गौणानि विख्यातानि महात्मनः ऋषिभिः परिगीतानि तानि वक्ष्यामि भूतये ऋषिर्नाम्नां सहस्रस्य वेदव्यासो महामुनिः छन्दोनुष्टुप्तता देवो भगवान् देवकीसुतः अमृतांशूद्भवो बीजं शक्तिर्देवकी नन्दनः त्रिसामासदयं तस्य शान्त्यर्थे विनियुज्यते विष्णुं जिष्णुं महाविष्णुं प्रभविष्णुं महेश्वरम् अनेकरूपदैत्यान्तं नमामि पुरुषोत्तमम् अस्य श्रीविष्णोर्दिव्यसहस्रनामस्तोत्रमहामन्त्रस्य श्रीवेदव्यासो भगवान् ऋषिः अनुष्टुप्छन्दः श्रीमहाविष्णुपरमात्मा श्रीमन्नारायणो देवता अमृतांशूद्भवो भानुरिति बीजम् देवकी नन्दनस्रष्टेति शक्तिः उद्भवः शोभनो देव इति परमो मन्त्रः शङ्खबृन्नन्दकी चक्रीति कीलकम् शाङ्करन्वा गदाधर इत्यस्त्रम् रथाङ्गपाणिरक्षोभ्य इति नेत्रम् त्रिसामा सामगः सामेति कवचम् आनन्दं परब्रह्मेति योनिः ऋतुः सुदर्शनः काल इति दिग्बन्धः श्रीविश्वरूप इति ध्यानम् श्रीमहाविष्णुप्रीत्यर्थे सहस्रनाम जपे विनियोगः ध्यानम् क्षीरोदन्वप्रदेशे शुचिमणिविलसत्सैकतैर्मौक्तिकानाम् मालाख्युक्तासनस्तस्फटिकमणिनिभैर्मौक्तिकैर्मण्डिताङ्गः शुभ्रैरभ्रैरदभ्रैरुपरि विरचितैर्मुक्तपीयूषवर्षैः आनन्दीनः पुनीयादलिनलिनगदा शङ्खपाणिर्मुकुन्दः भूपालौ यस्य नाभिर्वियदसुरनिलश्चन्द्रसूर्यौ च नेत्रे कर्णावाशा शिरोध्यौर्मुखमपि दहनो यस्य वासेयमब्धिः अन्तस्थं यस्य विश्वं सुरनरककगो भोगिगन्धर्वदैत्यैः चित्रं रम्यते तं त्रिभुवनवपुषं विष्णुमीशं नमामि ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गम् लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम् मेघश्यामं पीतकौशेयवासं श्रीवत्साङ्कं कौस्तुभोद्भासिताङ्गम् पुण्योपेतं पुण्डरीकायताक्षं विष्णुं वन्दे सर्वलोकैकनाथम् नमः समस्तभूतानाम् आदिभूताय भूभृते अनेकरूपरूपाय विष्णवे सर्वजिष्णवे सशङ्खचक्रं सकिरीटकुण्डलं सपीतवस्त्रं सरसीरुहेक्षणं सहारवक्षस्थलशोभिकौस्तुभं नमामि विष्णुं शिरसा चतुर्भुजम् छायायां पारिजातस्य हेमसिंहासनोपरि आसीनमम्बुदश्याममायताक्षमलङ्कृतम् चन्द्राननं चतुर्बाहुं श्रीवत्साङ्कितवक्षसं रुक्मिणी सत्यभामाभ्यां सहितं कृष्णमाश्रये हरिः ॐ विश्वं विष्णुर्वशत्कारो भूतभव्यभवत्प्रभुः भूतकृद्भूतकृद्भावो भूतात्मा भूतभावनः भूतात्मा परमात्मा च मुक्तानां परमागतिः अव्ययः पुरुषः साक्षी क्षेत्रज्ञोऽक्षर एव च योगो योगविदां नेता प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरः नारसिंहवपुः श्रीमान् केशवः पुरुषोत्तमः सर्वशर्व शिवस्ताणुर्भूतादिर्निरव्ययः सम्भवो भावनो भर्ता प्रभव प्रभुरीश्वरः स्वयंभू शम्भुरादित्य पुष्कराक्षो महास्वनः अनादिनिधनो दाता विधाता धातुरुत्तमः अप्रमेयो ऋषिकेश पद्मनाभो हरप्रभुः विश्वकर्मा मनुस्वष्टः सविष्ठस्तविरो ध्रुवः अग्राह्य शाश्वत कृष्णो लोहिताक्ष प्रतर्दनः प्रभूतस्थितकुब्धाम पवित्रं मङ्गलं परम् ईशान प्राणद प्राणो ज्येष्ठ श्रेष्ठ प्रजापतिः हिरण्यगर्भो भूगर्भो माधवो मधुसूदनः ईश्वरो विक्रमी धन्वी मेधावी विक्रमक्रमः अनुत्तमो दुरादर्श कृतज्ञ कृतिरात्मवान् सुरेश शरणं शर्म विश्वरेता प्रजाभवः अहः संवत्सरो व्याल प्रत्ययः सर्वदर्शनः अजः सर्वेश्वर सिद्धः सिद्धिः सर्वादिरच्युतः वृषा कपिलमेयात्मा सर्वयोग विनिस्मृतः वसुर्वसुमना सत्यः समात्मा संहितः समः अमोघ पुण्डरीकाक्षो वृषकर्मा वृषाकृतिः रुद्रो बहुशिरा बभ्रुर्विश्वयोनिश्रुचिश्रवाः अमृतः शाश्वतस्ताणुर्वदारोहो महातपाः सर्वगः सर्वविद्वानुर्विश्वक्सेनो जनार्दनः वेदो वेदविदव्यङ्गो वेदाङ्गो वेदवित्कविः लोकाध्यक्षः सुराध्यक्षो धर्माध्यक्षः कृताकृतः चतुरात्मा चतुर्व्यूहश्चतुर्दंश्चतुर्भुजः भ्राजिष्णुर्भोजनं भोक्ता सहिष्णुर्जगदादिजः अनघो विजयो जेता विश्वयोनिः पुनर्वसुः उपेन्द्रो वामनः प्रांशुरमोघः शुचिरोज्जितः अतीन्द्रसङ्ग्रहः सग्रो धृतात्मा नियमो यमः वेद्यो वैद्यः सदा योगी वीरः माधवो मधुः अतीन्द्रियो महामायो महोत्साहो महाबलः महाबुद्धिर्महावीर्यो महाशक्तिर्महाद्युतिः अनिर्देश्य वपुः श्रीमान् अमेयात्मा महाधृतृत् अनेश्वासो महीभक्ता श्रीनिवासः सताङ्गतिः अनिरुद्धः सुरानन्दो गोविन्दो गोविदाम्पतिः मरीचिर्दमनो हंसः सुपर्णो भुजगोत्तमः हिरण्यनाभः सुतपः पद्मनाभः प्रजापतिः अमृत्युः सर्वदृक्सिंहः सन्धाता सन्धिमान् स्थिरः अजो दुर्मर्षणः शास्ता विश्रुतात्मा सुरारिः गुरुर्गुरुतमो धामः सत्यः सत्यपराक्रमः निमिषो निमिषस्रग्वी वाचस्पतिरुदारधीः अग्रणी ब्राह्मणी श्रीमान् न्यायो नेता समीरणः सहस्रमूर्धा विश्वात्मा सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात् आवर्तनो निवृत्तात्मा संवृतः सम्प्रमर्दनः अहः संवत्सरो वह्निरनिलो धरणीधरः सुप्रसाद प्रसन्नात्मा विश्वभुग्विभुः सत्कर्ता सत्कृतः साधु जन्मनारायणो नरः असंख्येयो प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्टः शिष्टकृच्छुचिः सिद्धार्थ सिद्धसङ्कल्प सिद्धिदः सिद्धिसाधनः वृषाही वृषभो विष्णुर्वृषपर्वा वृषोदरः वर्धनो वर्धमानश्च विविक्तः श्रुतिसागरः सुभजो दुर्धरो वाग्मी महेशो वसुतो वसुः नैकरूपो बृहद्रूपः शिपिविष्टप्रकाशनः ओजस्तेजोद्युतिधरः प्रकाशात्मा प्रतापनः रुद्रस्पष्टाक्षरो मन्त्रश्चन्द्रांशुर्भास्करद्युतिः अमृतांशोद्भवो भानुः शशिबिन्दुसुरेश्वरः औषधं जगतः सेतुः सत्यधर्मपराक्रमः भूतभव्यभवन्नाथः पवनः पावनो नरः कामः कामकृत्कान्तः कामः कामप्रदः प्रभुः युगादिकृद्युगावर्तो नैकमायो महाशनः अदृश्यो व्यक्तरूपश्च सहस्रचिदनन्तचित् इष्टो विशिष्टः श्रेष्ठः शिखण्डी नंशो वृषः क्रोधः क्रोधकृत्कर्ता विश्वबाहुर्महीधरः अच्युतः प्रतितः प्राणः प्राणदो वासवानुजः अपान्निधिरधिष्ठानमप्रमत्तः प्रतिष्ठितः स्कन्दः स्कन्दधरो दुर्यो वरदो वायुवाहनः वासुदेवो बृहद्भानुरादिदेवः पुरन्दरः अशोकस्तारणस्तारः शूरः शौरिर्जनीश्वरः अनुकूलश्च तावत्र पद्मी पद्मनिवेक्षणः पद्मनाभो रविन्दाक्षः पद्मगर्भः शरीरभृत् महद्विवृद्धो वृद्धात्मा महाक्षो गरुडध्वजः अतुलः शरभो भीमः समयज्ञो हविर्हरिः सर्वलक्षणलक्षण्यो लक्ष्मीवान् समितिञ्जयः वीक्षरो रोहितो मार्गो हेतुर्दामोदरः सः महीधरो महाभागो वेगवानमिताशनः उद्भवः शोभनो देवः श्रीगर्गः परमेश्वरः करणं कारणं कर्ता विकर्ता गहनो गुहः व्यवसायो व्यवस्थानः संस्थानस्थानदोद्ध्रुवः परमस्पष्टः स्पष्टः पुष्टः शुभेक्षणः रामो विरतो मार्गो नेयो नयोनयः वीरशक्तिमतां श्रेष्ठो धर्मो धर्मविदुत्तमः वैकुण्ठः पुरुषः प्राणदः प्रणवक्रतो हिरण्यगर्भः शत्रुघ्नो व्याप्तो वायुरधोक्षजः ऋतुः सुदर्शनः कालः परमेष्टि परिग्रहः उग्रः संवत्सरो दक्षो विश्रामो विश्वदक्षिणः विस्तारस्तावरस्ताणुं प्रमाणं बीजमव्ययम् अर्थो नर्तो महाकोशो महाभोगो महाधनः अनिर्विण्णस्तविष्टो भूधर्मयोगो महामखः नक्षत्रनेमि नक्षत्री क्षमः क्षामः समीहनः यज्ञैर्यो महेन्द्रश्च कृतः सत्रं सदां गतिः सर्वदर्शी मुक्तात्मा सर्वज्ञो ज्ञानमुत्तमम् सुहृदः सुमुखः सूक्ष्मः सुघोषः सुगदः सुहृत् मनोहरो जितक्रोधो वीरबाहुर्विदारणः स्वापनः स्ववशो व्यापी नैकात्मा नैककर्मकृत् वत्सरो वत्सी रत्नगर्भो धनेश्वरः धर्मकृद्धर्मी सदसक्षरमक्षरम् अविज्ञाता सहस्रांशुर्विधाता कृतलक्षणः गवस्कनेमि सत्तस्तः सिंहो भूतमहेश्वरः आदिदेवो महादेवो देवेशो देववृद्गुरुः उत्तरो गोपतिर्गोप्ता ज्ञानगम्यः पुरातनः शरीरभूतभृग्भोक्ता कपीन्द्रो भूरि दक्षिणः सोमभोमृतपः सोमः पुरुजित्पुरुषत्तमः विनयो जयः सत्यसन्धो दाशानः सात्वताम्पतिः जीवो विनयिता साक्षी मुकुन्दो मितविक्रमः अम्भो निधिरनन्तात्मा महोदविषयोऽन्तकः अजो महार्घः स्वाभाव्यो जितामित्रप्रमोदनः आनन्दो नन्दनो नन्दः सत्यधर्मा त्रिविक्रमः महर्षिकविलाचार्य कृतज्ञो मेदिनीपतिः त्रिपदश्रिदशाध्यक्षो महाशृङ्खकृतान्तकृत् महावराहो गोविन्दः सुषेणः कनकाङ्गदी गुह्यो गभीरो गहनो गुप्तश्चक्रगदाधरः वेदास्वाङ्गोजितः कृष्णो दृढः सङ्कर्षणोच्युतः वरुणो वारुणो वृक्षः पुष्कराक्षो महामनाः भगवान् भगवानन्दी वनमाली हरायुधः आदित्यो ज्योतिरादित्यः सहिष्णुर्गतिसत्तमः सुधन्वा खण्डपरिशुद्धारुणो द्रविणप्रदः दिवस्पृक्सर्वदृग्व्यासो वाचस्पतिरयो निजः त्रिसामासामगः सामनिर्वाणं भेषजं विशग सन्न्यासकृच्छमशान्तो निष्ठा शान्तिपरायणम् शुभाङ्गः शान्तिदः स्रष्टा कुमुदः कुवलेशयः गोहितो गोपतिर्गोक्ता वृषभाक्षो वृषप्रियः अनिवर्ती निवृत्तात्मा संक्षेप्ता क्षेमकृच्छिवः श्रीवत्सवक्षा श्रीवास श्रीपति श्रीमताम्बरः श्रीधर श्रीश श्रीनिवास श्रीनिधि श्रीविभावनः श्रीधर श्रीकर श्रेय श्रीमान् लोकत्रयाश्रयः स्वक्षस्वङ्गशतानन्दो नन्दिर्ज्योतिर्गणेश्वरः विजितात्मा विधेयात्मा सर्गेऽच्छिन्न संशयः उदीर्ण सर्वतश्चरणीश शाश्वतस्थिरः भूषयो भूषणो भूतिर्विशोकशोकनाशनः अर्चिष्मानर्चितकुम्भो विशुद्धात्मा विशोधनः अनिरुद्धो प्रतिरतः प्रद्युम्नो मितविक्रमः कालनेमिनिहा वीरः शौरी शूरजनेश्वरः त्रिलोकात्मा त्रिलोकेश केशवः केशिहा हरिः कामदेवः कामपालः कामी कान्तकृतागमः अनिर्देशवपुर्विष्णुर्वीरो नन्दो धनञ्जयः ब्रह्मण्यो ब्रह्मकृत् ब्रह्मा ब्रह्म ब्रह्म विवर्धनः ब्रह्मविद्ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्मी ब्रह्मज्ञो ब्राह्मणप्रियः महाक्रमो महाकर्मा महातेजा महोरगः महाक्रतुर्महायज्वा महायज्ञो महाहविः सव्यस्तव प्रियस्तोत्रं स्तुतिस्तोतारणप्रियः पूर्णपूरयिता पुण्य पुण्यकीर्तिरनामयः मनोजवस्त्रीकरो वसुरेता वसुप्रदः वसुप्रदो वासुदेवो वसुर्वसुमनाहविः सद्गतिः सत्कृतिः सर्ता सद्भूतिः सत्परायणः शूरसेनो यदुश्रेष्ठः सन्निवासः सुयामनः भूतावासो वासुदेवः सर्वासु निलयो नरः दर्पः दर्पतो दृप्तो दुर्धरोतापराजितः विश्वमूर्तिर्महामूर्तिर्दीप्तमूर्तिरमूर्तिमान् अनेकमूर्तिरव्यक्तः शतमूर्तिशताननः एकोनैकः सवक्तः किं यत्तत्पदमनुत्तमम् लोकबन्धुर्लोकनाथो माधवो भक्तवत्सलः सुवर्णवर्णो हेमाङ्गो वराङ्गश्चन्दनाङ्गदी वीरः विषमः शून्यो मृगाशीरशलश्चलः अमानी मानदो मान्यो लोकस्वामी त्रिलोकधृत् सुमेधा मेधजो धन्यः सत्यमेधा नराधरः तेजो वृषोद्युतिधरः सर्वशस्त्रवृताम्बरः प्रग्रहो निग्रहो व्यग्रो नैकशुम्भो गदाग्रजः चतुर्मूर्तिश्चतुर्बाहुश्चतुर्व्यूहश्चतुर्गतिः चतुरात्मा चतुर्भावश्चतुर्वेदविदेकपात् समावर्तो निवृत्तात्मा दुर्जयो दुरतिक्रमः दुर्लभो दुर्गमो दुर्गो दुरावासो दुरारिः शुभाङ्गो लोकसारङ्गः सुतन्तुस्तन्तुवर्धनः इन्द्रकर्मा महाकर्मा कृतकर्मा कृतागमः उद्भवः सुन्दरः सुन्दो रत्ननाभः सुलोचनः अर्को वाचसनः शृङ्गी जयन्तः सर्वविजयी सुवर्णबिन्दुरक्षोभ्यः सर्वभागीश्वरेश्वरः महारथो महागर्तो महाभूतो महानिधिः कुमुदकुन्दरः कुन्दः पर्जन्यः पावनोऽनिलः अमृतांशोऽमृतवपुः सर्वज्ञः सर्वतोमुखः सुलभः सुव्रतः सिद्धः शत्रुजिश्चत्रुतामनः व्यग्रोदोदुम्बरो श्वस्तश्चाणूरान्द्रनिषूदनः सहस्राक्षी सप्तजिह्वै सप्तैधा सप्तवाहनः अमूर्तिरनगोचिन्त्यो भयकृद्भयनाशनः अणुबृहत्कृशस्थूलो गुणवृन्निर्गुणो महान् अरुतस्वदृतस्वास्य प्राग्वंशो वंशवर्धनः भारवृत्कथितो योगी योगीशः सर्वकामदः आश्रमश्रवणक्षामः सुवर्णो वायुवाहनः धनुर्धरो धनुर्वेदो दण्डो दमयिता नमः अपराजितः सर्वसहो नियन्ता नियमो यमः सत्त्ववान् सात्विकः सत्यः सत्यधर्मपरायणः अभिप्रायप्रिया घोरप्रियकृत्प्रीतिवर्धनः विहाय सकतिर्ज्योतिर्सुरुचिर्भुतभुग्विभुः रविर्विरोचनः सूर्यः सविता रविलोचनः अनन्तो हुतभुग्भोक्ता सुखदो नैकजोग्रजः अनिर्विण्णः सदा महर्षि लोकाधिष्ठानमद्भुतः सनातनतमः कपिलः कपिलव्ययः स्वस्ति 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 दक्षिणः अरौद्रकुण्डली चक्री विक्रम्योर्जितशासनः शब्दाधिकः शब्दसः शिशिरः शर्वरीकरः अक्रूरक्लेशलो दक्षो दक्षिणः शमिनाम्बरः विद्वत्तमो वीतभयः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः उत्तारणो दुष्कृतिः पुण्यो दुःस्वप्ननाशनः वीरः रक्षणः सन्तो जीवनः पर्यवस्थितः अनन्तरूपोऽनन्तश्रीचिरमन्योर्भयापहः चतुराश्रो गभीरात्मा दिदिशो व्यादिशोरिशः अनादिर्भूर्भुवो लक्ष्मीः सुवीरो रुचिराङ्गदः जननो जनजन्मादिर्भीमो भीमपराक्रमः आधारनिलयो दाता पुष्पहासः प्रजागरः ऊर्ध्वगः सर्पदाचारः प्राणदः प्रणवप्रणः प्रमाणं प्राणनिलयः प्राणभृत् प्राणजीवनः तत्त्वं तत्त्वविदेकात्मा जन्म मृत्युजरातिगः भूर्भुवः स्वस्तरुस्तारः सविता प्रपितामहः यज्ञो यज्ञपतिर्यज्वा यज्ञाङ्गो यज्ञवाहनः यज्ञकृत्यज्ञकृत्यज्ञी यज्ञकृत्यज्ञसाधनः यज्ञान्तकृत्यज्ञगुह्यमन्नमन्नाद एव च आत्मयोनिः स्वयं जातो वैकानः सामगायनः देवकीनन्दनः स्रष्टा क्षितीशः पापनाशनः शङ्खबृन्नन्दकी चक्री शार्ङ्गधन्वागदाधरः रथाङ्गपाणिरक्षोभ्यः सर्वप्रहरणायुधः सर्वप्रहरणायुध ॐ नमः इति वनमाली गदीशाङ्गी शङ्की चक्री च नन्दकी श्रीमन्नारायणो विष्णुर्वासुदेवो विरक्षतु वनमाली गदीशाङ्गी शङ्की चक्री च नन्दकी श्रीमन्नारायणो विष्णुर्वासुदेवो विरक्षतु वनमाली गदीशाङ्गी शङ्की चक्री च नन्दकी श्रीमन्नारायणो विष्णुर्वासुदेवो विरक्षतु श्रीवासुदेवो विरक्षतु ॐ नमः इतीदं कीर्तनीयस्य केशवस्य महात्मनः नाम्नां सहस्रं दिव्यानामशेषेण प्रकीर्तितम् य इदं शृणुयात् नित्यं यश्चापि परिकीर्तयेत् नाशुभं प्राप्नुयात् किञ्चित् सोमुद्रेह च मानवः वेदान्तको ब्राह्मणस्य क्षत्रियो विजयी भवेत् वैश्यो धनसमृद्धस्य शूद्रः सुखमवाप्नुयात् कामार्ती प्राप्नुयात् धर्ममर्थार्ती चार्थमाप्नुयात् कामानवाप्नुयात् कामी प्रजार्ती चाप्नुयात् प्रजाम् भक्तिमान् यः सदोत्ताय शुचिः सद्गतमानसः सहस्रं वासुदेवस्य नाम्नामेतत् प्रकीर्तयेत् यशः प्राप्नोति विपुलं ज्ञातिप्राधान्यमेव च अचलां श्रियमाप्नोति श्रेयः प्राप्नोत्यनुत्तमम् न भयं क्वचिदाप्नोति वीर्यं तेजश्च विन्दति भवत्यरोगोद्युतिमान् बलरूपगुणान्वितः रोगार्तो मुच्यते रोगात् बद्धो मुच्येत बन्धनात् भयान् मुच्येत भीतस्तु मुच्येतापन्नः दुर्गाण्यतिरतत्याशु पुरुषः पुरुषोत्तमम् सुवन्नाम सहस्रेण नित्यं भक्तिसमन्वितः वासुदेवाश्रयो मत्यो वासुदेवपरायणः सर्वपापविशुद्धात्मा याति ब्रह्म सनातनम् न वासुदेव भक्तानामशुभं विद्यते क्वचित् जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि भयं नैवोपजायते इमं स्तवमधीयानः श्रद्धा भक्तिसमन्वितः युजेतात्मसुखशान्ति श्रीधृतिस्मृतिकीर्तिभिः न क्रोधो न च मात्सर्यं न लोभो नाशुभा मतिः भवन्ति कृतपुण्यानां भक्तानां पुरुषोत्तमे द्यौस्चन्द्रार्कनक्षत्रार्कमदिशो भूर्महोदधिः वासुदेवस्य वीर्येण विधृतानि महात्मनः ससुरासुरगन्धर्वं सयक्षोरगराक्षसम् जगद्वशे वर्ततेदं कृष्णस्य सचराचरम् इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः सत्त्वं तेजो बलं धृतिः वासुदेवात्मकान्याहुः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञ एव च सर्वागमानामाचारप्रथमं परिकल्पते आचारप्रभवो धर्मो धर्मस्य प्रवृच्युतः ऋषयः पितरो देवा महाभूतानि धातवः जङ्गमं चेदं जगन्नारायणोद्भवम् योगो ज्ञानं तथा साङ्ख्यं विद्या शिल्पादिकर्म च वेदाशास्त्राणि विज्ञानमेतत् सर्वं जनार्दनात् एको विष्णुर्महद्भूतं पृथग्भूतान्यनेकशः त्रिलोकान् व्याप्य भूतात्मा भुङ्क्ते विश्वभुगव्ययः इमं स्तवं भगवतो विष्णोर्व्यासेन कीर्तितम् पठेद्य इच्छेत् पुरुषः श्रेयः प्राप्तुं सुखानि च विश्वेश्वरमजं देवं जगतः प्रभुमव्ययम् भजन्ति ये पुष्कराक्षं न ते यान्ति पराभवम् न ते यान्ति पराभवम् ॐ नमः इति अर्जुन उवाच पद्मपत्रविशालाक्ष पद्मनाभसुरोत्तमा भक्तानामनुरक्तानां त्राता भवजनार्दन श्रीभगवानुवाच यो मां नाम सहस्रेण स्तोतुमिच्छति पाण्डव सोऽहमेकेन श्लोकेन स्तुत एव न संशयः ॐ नमः इति व्यास उवाच वासना वासुदेवस्य वासितं भुवनत्रयम् सर्वभूतनिवासोऽसि वासुदेव नमोऽस्तु ते श्रीवासुदेव नमोऽस्तु ॐ नमः इति पार्वती उवाच केनोपायेन लघुना विष्णोर्नाम सहस्रकम् पठ्यते पण्डितैर्नित्यं श्रोतुमिच्छाम्यहं प्रभो ईश्वर उवाच श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने श्रीराम नाम वरानन ॐ नमः इति ब्रह्म उवाच नमोऽस्त्वनन्ताय सहस्रमूर्तये सहस्रपादाक्षिशिरोरुबाहवे सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाय शाश्वते सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः ॐ नमः इति सञ्जय उवाच यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीविजयो भूतिर्ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम श्रीभगवानुवाच अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे वार्ता विषण्णाश्चिराश्च भीताः घोरेषु च व्याधिषु वर्तमानाः संकीर्त्य नारायण शब्दमात्रं विमुक्तदुःखाः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृति स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। श्रीमन्महाभारते
भारते शतसाहस्रिकायां संहितायां वैयासिकाम् अनुशासनिकपर्वणि मोक्षदर्णे भीष्मयुधिष्ठिरसंवादे श्रीविष्णोर्दिव्यसहस्रनामस्तोत्रं सम्पूर्णम्। शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं 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 यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Just a couple of minutes, we'll say a Shanti mantra.
This Shanti mantra is from Taittiriya Upanishad, also from Kata and Shvetashvatara. Om Shanno Mitrasham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnurrukramaha Namo Brahmane नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवत् तद्वक्तारमवत् अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ ॐ द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिः ओषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिः विश्वे देवाः शान्तिः ब्रह्मा शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति
Thank you, everyone. If you guys want to wrap up, I'll call Arun. Thank you, everyone, for maintaining silence as they read the prayers. I'm going to call upon Arun Ramappa to speak a few words about Maneesh.
We are here today to celebrate Maneesh. We are here today to celebrate Maneesh. But as I stand here, I still cannot believe that he's not here with us. I first met Maneesh 40 years ago. Uncle Jay and my father had a mutual friend that had connected our families, and we met in Fort Lauderdale. I remember him as a young kid. He was wisecracking, funny, and quick-witted. Over the years, Maneesh grew into an unusually intelligent, stylish, socially gifted, and caring man and father. A group of us whose parents were close developed deep, lifelong friendships. Over the years, these relationships have evolved, and as we have grown our own families, during this evolution, the person who always kept us together was Maneesh. He started a group text that he named What Up Family. And on this text stream, we send birthday wishes, celebrate each other's successes, and share thought-provoking ideas, inspiring stories, and Netflix recommendations. Maneesh, by far, texted the most and kept the stream going. Because of his efforts, including those 2 a.m. texts, our friendships have become more vibrant. During the COVID pandemic, many of us felt isolated and scared. Maneesh recognized this and insisted on a weekly family Zoom. Every Sunday, we would congregate in front of our computer screens. As the pandemic wore on, Zoom fatigue set in, and fewer people would join each week. But Maneesh was always there, always engaging, always present. He needed this connection to us. And though we didn't know it, he knew that we needed these connections to one another. We couldn't see this, but he could. And he made it happen. I'm incredibly grateful to you, Maneesh, for reminding me that it takes real work to nourish important relationships. He was super smart, charismatic, and insightful. He was always way ahead of the curve. He took me on my first Uber ride in San Francisco when it was just a fledgling startup. He dove into Bitcoin, and he was a true pioneer in the video gaming industry. But most importantly, he cared. He cared about his family, his friends, and cared about doing the right thing. Maneesh had his struggles, but despite this, he was always seeking to help. When COVID ravaged India, he kept us aware, and he showed us how to help. For example, how to donate oxygen. Perhaps his greatest gift was that Maneesh was always present. When you spoke to him, you knew he was listening. He made you feel like the most important person in the world. In a world full of distractions, he was always in the moment. He made you feel special. Very few have this ability, this gift. He had it. I think about how he would want us to live. He wrote a review of a recent movie and described how it provided a look at life, loss, love, longing, and everything that comes between. He embraced all of that, and he would want us to embrace it. He would want us to take the path less traveled. He would want us to live a life of purpose, to push for social justice, and to leave this earth a better place. He would want us to care for our fellow citizens and to express our love to those that we love every moment we could. Maneesh, I miss you, but I know that you haven't left us. I love you, Maneesh.
My brother did a really good job summing up a lot of Maneesh. I know it's a somber moment, and we are all really missing Maneesh, but I'm really happy to share what an amazing soul he was. As my brother said, we met when we were really little, at 4 years old. He became my friend, family, and then he became my brother. And every time he would use the word sis with me, it would make my heart smile because I felt so honored that he would call me one of his sisters. He was one of my biggest supporters in life and still is. We loved sharing our wins with each other. He's one of the first people that I will hit up if I have a professional or even just personal win in life. And I'm fortunate that he also shared them with me. Many people don't know the industry that he's in. It's the video gaming industry, tech industry, and he is a thought leader in that industry. He would go around speaking all over the world on the trends that were going on in video gaming, things with ads. I mean, so much stuff. He knew he was at the forefront. He could call the trends before most people did. He was such a leader in that industry that they would write articles when he left one company and moved to another company. He had a lot of professional wins, but the ones he shared with me that he thought meant a lot to him were really interesting, and I was really happy to hear them. One time he texted me, and he was like, I just gave a talk at NYU to 100 kids, and I got a standing ovation. Or another time he texted me and he's like, it was an article in ESPN about him. And he's like, I made it. We love ESPN. He was a rock star in that industry. And one time he texted me, he's like, I don't know what to do with this. Somebody just came up and asked me for my autograph. That's the type of leader he was in that industry. But he was way, way, way more than his professional life, as we all are. There was so much more to him than that. If people know him, the ones that were close to him, know that he's probably one of the funniest people that you'll ever meet. He was, as my brother said, so quick-witted. He had one-liners that would just come like this, and you're just always laughing. I knew he is the one person that when I see, I know I'm going to laugh. And he loved to mock you too. But when he mocked me and mocked the people he loved, there was something very sweet in it because he honed in on the details of you, because he paid attention. He was present, and he really saw who you were. So we loved the Miami Heat, and one day I texted him and I'm like, the Heat better win tonight. And he texted me back, mocking me. I'm gonna start meditating and walking on the beach and writing essays to make sure it happens. But he knew that was who I was. He always really looked at the things that I loved and knew what I was about. Then he would use it against me. But he was funny. And he cared so much. We bonded over a lot of things. We both were in tech, but some of my favorite things that we bonded over was dancehall reggae, Biggie, the Heat. But we also bonded over being the rebellious ones in our family. And there's a lot that comes with that in our community and the family. And he was always there for me. We always had an internal knowing of each other. We just got it. It's sometimes difficult when you want to lead a life that's different than what others wish for you. And he helped me so much just knowing what it was like through my 20s, 30s, and 40s now. And he's still helping me with it. And even though we bonded on a lot, he would challenge me all the time. We had a lot of similar beliefs, but we had a lot of different beliefs. And he was always truthful, we were raw, but every time we were debating, there was never a moment where we didn't have unconditional love or respect for each other. We knew it. There was never a moment that we thought there was anything less. And the reason why is because he always, always, always told me how much he cared about me, how much gratitude he had for me for being there. Constantly, every year, there was always something that would come up and he would tell me how much he loved me. So we never left not knowing that. And fortunately, I had the chance to do the same. But that was the type of guy he was and is. He loved the people close to him very dearly. And to Miles, you might be watching streaming, you are the person that he loved the most in this world. He was a great father, and the reason why he was a great father is because he was so self-aware of his flaws. Most people aren't that self-aware. And he didn't overcome a lot of his flaws, and some of them he did overcome, but everything he did to be better and do better was all for you, Miles. And Judy, who's not here, he cared about you and loved you so much. And we are just so grateful because he knew that you carried him through difficult moments. And Anoop, all siblings have stuff between them. But every time he talked to me about something that made him distraught, there was never a moment that he mentioned you. He loved you dearly and he got it. Never a moment. And Auntie and Uncle, all I can just say is that we're all here for you. You know you can talk to me at any time about anything and anything that you're feeling. And he loved you guys so much. It's up and down as with kids and parents, but you know, he sent me a text one time and he's like, I had the most open, honest conversation with my parents. And he was so happy and he loved you so much. And he still is, he's here. So not only did he care for the people that were in his life, he cared so deeply for the people in this world. He took on the suffering sometimes. He was so empathetic for people that were suffering in this world. And even when he was going through difficult times, he'd be going to the soup kitchen and giving and serving homeless people. And he carried that burden within him of what was going on in the world. He just wanted to help this world. And it was sometimes hard. And it was sometimes difficult and unbearing. but he taught me a lot. I see the world with rose-colored glasses. He sees them with the opposite. I like to walk in the light, and he embraced the darkness, lived in the darkness, and it was difficult. But I love that, and I feel grateful that he shared all of that with myself and Irvin and Sheila, who aren't here. And because I loved him so much, I was able to understand the depth and the darkness like I hadn't before in this world. It was such a spiritual and one of the most powerful lessons I've ever learned. And he was my teacher. And he was one of the strongest people I know, because he's gone to places in life and depths in life that I don't know if I could ever come back from. And he went and he came back and he fought. There's so much to say about him. I just love him so much, and he is part of me is because of him. I want all of you to know what he meant to me, because if you know me, a lot of it is because of him. Because he's been there and still is there. And one of the fun things about him is that he would debate and question. He was a seeker about the meaning of life and about what happens after death. We would have tons of conversations about the soul and what happened to the soul. And he was very, not sure. He was skeptical. But I would like to say, I feel him all the time. I felt him deeper in these weeks than I've ever had in this past week. I love him and I feel him. And I think it's time for him to tell us that we're right, because we feel you, and I know he is here and will always be here for us in so many different ways, and we just need to tap into it. And it will surprise us, but he's always there. I hear him in my head all this week. I think he's laughing right now because this is going on live stream on YouTube, but he's here. And I love you, Maneesh, and I love you.
Thank you, Aarti. Geeta, can you come help me with the video? So we've put together a short video. It's about 15 minutes long. If you could, again, sit down and just give it your attention, we would appreciate it.
does. So it's very, very difficult to play some of the hardcore console games. If you can use a mouse, you can play every single one of our games, and I'm fairly confident every single person in here can use a mouse. We have no instruction manuals, our game demos are less than 3 minutes long, and you can actually pick up and learn to play in that short amount of time. So that's the first reason that's fueled this growth. The second is our games are social user. And then finally, I want to close on Zynga.org. I mentioned at the beginning, our mission is to help connect the world through gaming. But Mark Pincus, our CEO, also believes that not only can we provide fun and amazing entertainment, but we can actually give back to the world and give back through social good. So a couple of stats I'm going to mention. After the horrible earthquake in Haiti over a year ago, we raised $1.5 million for Haiti. That was people purchasing special seeds inside of the game, and then we donated those proceeds to help the Haiti community. 100% of those donations went to the UN World Food Fund. Recently, the horrible tsunami and earthquake that happened in Japan. Over the course of 24 hours, Zynga mobilized and had about 5 to 7 different activations inside each game, where if you purchased a particular item, whether it was crops inside Cityville or a Kobe cow inside Frontierville, we donated 100% of the proceeds back to Save the Children. We've raised over $3 million for Japan to date, a huge, huge amount. We're glad to help them out. And then finally, the last stat is since Zynga.org's been around, we've raised over $10 million for the various programs I just talked about, in addition to almost $800,000 for the Benioff Children's Hospital. So the end point is, it's great to make games, it's great to make fun, but we're giving back as well. So I want to leave on that point. Thank you so much for your time.
There are concerns over addiction and parents complaining and perhaps these kids spending even some money on these games. How likely are we to see more government regulation in this field?
That's a good question. Every time, the question of addiction or gaming, or especially here in the U.S., gun violence comes up, and the shooter happens to play a first-person shooter or happens to like video gaming, the question of, hey, does video game cause violence? And, that report's been done over and over, and video game doesn't lead to violence. I would say more than likely that we have 300 million guns in the U.S., that's probably leading to violence. So the question of, does gaming lead to addiction? I mean, addiction you see across, many forms of leisure, whether that be gambling, slot machines, racing, poker, whatever it may be. So I don't necessarily think, we can really single out gaming just for its potential addictive value. Right. Anything that you play 24, 48 hours without stopping is probably potentially bad. So I think anything that requires, parental control over their kids. I only allow my son to play for, 1 hour a day maximum. So, I think it's all of our responsibility to do that.
Thank you. I think Viju Prakash will speak next.
that we saw yet brought us a lot of memories, sweet memories. Dearest Manish, we are deeply saddened by your untimely departure, but I believe that Almighty God has some very special plans for you, as was also the case for the impactful time you spent during your soul's journey here. Obviously, there are no words to express this loss of our dear Manish from his earthly body that can dampen the emotions and feelings that we are all going through in our ongoing processes of mourning and grief. I pray for healing and loving energy for all of us who are processing this, especially his family, and those feeling a great weight regarding his passing. But in honor and celebration of Manish's life and in accordance with his dear parents' wishes, I'd like to remember the good times and pay tribute, though small in comparison, for the immense effect he had on all of our lives, as he shared his beautiful spirit and touched the lives of so many souls, a fraction of whom are here today. Manish, I know you can hear us. We are so grateful that you have enriched all of our lives. We love you so much. Sorry, guys. We have the pleasure of knowing Manish since he was a toddler growing up in South Florida. Others who had that privilege include the families and kids of the Ramapas, Dharmapas, Salins, Mayas, Vaidyas, Pandits, Deshpandes, Hebbars, Iyengas, and Murthy, to name a few. Even at relatively young age, he had a unique ability to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, just like Arun and Aarti was telling us about them. As he grew up, he would always be able to deliver a healthy dose of hearty laughter for those who had the pleasure of being in his orbit. He also was a veritable depot of facts and statistics as he showcased a thoughtful and philosophical facet to his larger-than-life personality. We enjoyed experiencing the joy and laughter of Manish, Anup, and all of the kids during sleepovers and get-togethers. Even then, you could see the charisma and charm that he was able to display over the course of his life. This charisma and charm was evident in all his interactions with those younger and older alike, with those that he had known for years and those that he had just met. He was able to focus his attention and heart in such a way to make the person who was the object of that focus feel so special, just like Aarti mentioned. Even with my mother, who has since passed.
So it's been a hard couple weeks for all of us, but there's a lot of positives too. This whole celebration has been an amazing reflection on Manish's life. I've had people reach out who I haven't spoken to in 20 years and had an anecdote about my brother and all the great things he did, and how he would connect with them on a personal level. And it's good to see that. Manish had a greater impact than we all ever appreciated, or at least I appreciated, both personally and professionally. For Miles, we're going to continue to teach you all these positive things your dad has done over the years. And Manish, we're going to do the best to continue to honor you. Thank you so much for coming here today, for being on the live stream, and for all of the love and support that we've had over this past couple weeks. Manish loves you all. We love you all. Thank you.
Friends, it's a cliche to say that no parent should go through this loss of a child. But we are not the first ones, and we won't be the last ones. Yet it does not make it any less painful. In this period of indescribable grief, we have been showered by many blessings as well. We want to thank each and every one of you here for the immense support, love, compassion, and strength that you have unwaveringly given to us and our family. Nalini and I feel like we are standing on a foundation of 100 pillars. There is no way we will be allowed to fall or drown in our sorrows. As soon as we thought of having this event, a celebration of life for to honor Maneesh, one person found a place to host the event, another helped to order food, yet another helped to eat with the e-wide, and one more kind soul compiled such a beautiful video. Just to name a few. So many of you have pitched in so many ways. Our family is humbled and stand grateful in front of you all. Please accept our sincere appreciation. Where do I begin with Maneesh? Our son was known fondly and to friends and colleagues as Manny. He had an infectious sense of humor, was quick-witted, as so many of you have already mentioned, and always a life of a gathering. He was smart, compassionate, and had a huge heart. As was evident in the video, he had developed his own niche, and I'm not going to expand on that because you already heard many times on it. But I just want to mention that he was invited to speak technology conferences and participated in many panel discussions both nationally and internationally. He has traveled to Macau, China, South Africa to speak. He was called upon to share the insights of television and radio networks in podcasts and talk shows. But he was also consulted by many football and basketball teams. And there's so little I did know about him and his success. Such was the man our son was. We stand here as proud parents today to know that achieved in such a short life. As with some father and son relationships go, Maneesh and I had our own share of challenges. On many things we agreed to disagree. As a father, I felt that, well, I had to be right. After all, I told myself that only I had his best interest at heart. Tough love is not easy, I concluded. But looking back, I wish I understood him better. Sadly, I cannot preach what I did not practice, but it does not stop me from telling every parent in this room, please cherish what you have with your children. You never know what lurks around the corner for each of us. One of Maneesh's last tweets said, every minute spent thinking about wasted time is another minute wasted time. Let me repeat it. Every minute spent thinking about wasted time is another minute of wasted time. How true is that? While we gather to celebrate his life, it behooves me to tell you that Maneesh had his own fair share of challenges and struggles. He had many imperfections, as most of us humans do. He was divorced, living alone and lonely. He tried hard to spend meaningful time with his son and grabbed every opportunity to be involved in his son's activities. Together, Judy and Maneesh ensured that all of Miles' needs were met. Maneesh had a sensitive side too that made him question the unfairness he saw in the world. He thought endlessly of why he had the privilege of education, place to stay, job, when there are so many who were homeless and helpless. It was well known around his social circles that he would take a homeless woman to the grocery store and buy her groceries, arrange a Uber ride for a stranger who needed to go someplace, or without hesitation give her the last $50 in his pocket to some stranger in need. As a matter of fact, we found that he always had a stack of $1 bills. He was prepared and ready to hand some of those bills to the next needy person he would come across in the streets. Such was magnanimous heart of our son, Maneesh. I say all this because I want you to know who our son was. I hope that each of you will carry forward his legacy of helping others in a way that truly mattered to him. And so, we have a small request. As you leave today, please take a bag filled with some basic toiletries. Each bag also has one of the dollar bills that belong to Maneesh. When you come across a homeless person, please hand this back. Think of you that you are doing this for Manish. Feel free to add $1 if you want, or whatever your heart desires to help that person. We think that more than prayers that we offer, this act of yours is the best way to honor Manish and bring peace to his soul. We hope this act of giving inspires you to continue helping the underprivileged and thinking of Manish as you perform these acts of kindness. Last but most importantly, we want to address his tragic ending. It's important for us to share what truly happened so others can learn lesson from this and help avoid this with their own loved ones. Manish had periodic seizures and was on medications, but he would say that being on meds, it was difficult to cope up with work. His most recent employer was a large Indian gaming company. He was involved day and night managing their IPO for the US market. The work stress, lack of sleep, of improper meds must have triggered a chain reaction of events. As with everything, time and destiny caught up with him. On that fateful day, he had a severe seizure that crippled him physically to seek medical help and ultimately led him to his untimely death. I ask that each of you respectfully honor his legacy of compassion, humility, and non-judgmental love for the underprivileged. He was a true inspiration that flew behind a blueprint of kindness for community service for us to follow. Our pain is deep. We may take this loss to our graves. We thank you for surrounding us with so much love and kindness. We will not hesitate to lean into you all of you when we need to, but please know that we also need some time to cope with our feelings. We just request you to understand and give us time. We know that you are all there for us no matter what. Just that thought alone gives us tremendous comfort as we cope during this difficult time. Thank you so much for coming today and Celebration Zone. I know this has been very morose, but this is what Manish is. From now on, I really want you to enjoy your stay here, enjoy the lunch. Please mix freely and celebrate him. We do have a time limit on this, around 2:30 to 2:45 we have to close this venue or start winding up, but please do enjoy. I don't want to bring this energy down. I want the energy to be up here. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. There are 2 tables in the back that are set up for food. So we ask that in order for so many of us to eat and move the chain of people that you split between the 2 tables, so that half of the room can use that set of food tables and this side can use the other side. I think there are friends who are going to be serving you guys, so keep your masks on as they serve your food, and like Uncle said, we need to leave this room around 2:30. Thank you all. So I want to bring one small detail to your attention as well. Can I have your attention for one more second, please? We do have Manish's co-workers sent us some comments that we wanted to incorporate, but the video would just lengthen it. So we created a slideshow with all of their comments because they couldn't record their own video. So please spend some time and see that. That's going to be playing for the rest of the event. I ask once again that we all stand and gather and get food, please. I hate to push you guys, but we need to get food going. Thank you.